there for about another 3-4 hours? Yeah. We'll get you out of here by 5 p.m., I promise. All right. Has this been a great event, everybody? Yes. I'll tell you, one of the things I appreciate the most, and I hope you appreciate it, I think that you do. I heard a lot of the conversations leaving this meeting yesterday and every meeting that we've left and come back into, and there's such a cross-section of talent in this organization. So many different people winning, and with the emergence of our organizations, there's so many different styles that you can win with and win by, but the success principles are the same, no matter where you are and what you do. And I'm going to share today with you, in closing, some of the top 20 things I think you need to remember in leaving this meeting today. And I think if you follow these things and you remember them and you practice them on a daily basis, you will succeed in this business, and you'll probably succeed in life. A lot of the things that Ed taught today, I wrote a lot of notes on, and it was a different configuration of having goals and managing your time and managing yourself, and really self-mastery. If you really just define it for what it is, it's just taking and controlling where it is your destiny is and where you're going. Instead of having life happen to you, you go out and create whatever you want. What's interesting is, without the right goals and without some structure, a lot of times we're like sailboats in the middle of the ocean in a windstorm, and we just go every day, and whatever winds come, we end up going that way or that way. And sometimes when you have a good set of goals and some structure and some discipline behind you, it's like putting a rudder on, or maybe even a big engine on the back. And you head directly to wherever it is that you want to go in this life. And I believe life is short. We could be gone like this, as someone we saw in a video yesterday said, but really, who knows when our number's going to be up? And for me, I want to make the most of my time here. I want to enjoy it the most. I want to succeed the most. I want to make the biggest impressions on other people that I can. And there's certain ways to do that, and I think this business is certainly one of those ways. So let's start covering the top 20 things you could take from here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit the best I can with this thing. And good. Okay. I hope you're not overly impressed with my computer graphic design. I had one of the top firms in San Jose work on this for me today. Number 20. I heard that laugh. Become a student of the business. What does that mean? Basically, study our business format system. Pretend like you spent $1 million on it, because essentially it can make you millions of dollars. It certainly has for Ed Milet, has for myself, it has for many people in this company. Unfortunately, I believe there are people in this company that have not yet read the business format system book. Or if they have read it, it would behoove me. I wouldn't understand for a minute why somebody would run some other system besides the business format system, especially if they understand how it got developed. Many people tried everything, and they narrowed it down and whittled it down after so many failures into what we have now in 70 pages called the business format system. I think that would be the one thing to follow. And I think we have to become a student of that, and that's what we check off on a daily basis. Am I running the system? I could take anybody's business in this room, sit down with you for a 30-minute interview, and if your business isn't going well, I'd ask you, what's going on? And I could diagnose your problem with your business in about 6 questions. And those 6 questions would be about our 6 steps. You're either not prospecting, you're not approaching and contacting new people, your business presentation meeting or one-on-ones aren't too good, your follow-up interview isn't effective, you're not fast starting your new people, or basically you're not duplicating yourself on anybody, so it's just you on your team. It's one of those things every time. It's not really that complex. We've got one of the most simple systems I've ever seen in my life, but it can make you a millionaire. Sometimes to be simple is to be great. Number 2, increase your wisdom. There's only 2 ways to get wisdom in this world, and that's through experience or to borrow it from somebody else. And one is so much less painful than the other. Wouldn't you rather just read a book on what to do and take advice from someone else on what not to do than have to go through all the pain and agony of it yourself? There's a book out there, Think and Grow Rich. All of you have probably read it, but you know, that took years and years, at least 25 years of somebody's life, every day, every night, thinking and studying all the most successful, wisest people in the world, and he narrowed it down to a common thread of successful principles that runs through all of them and publishes it in one little book that you could buy for less than 20 bucks and read it in a weekend. What? That is great. And we get to pick up that book and save ourselves 25 years by reading it. Very interesting. Increase your discipline daily. Folks, nobody is perfect, but your effectiveness is going to be determined by your discipline in every area of our lives. And you know, you can be disciplined a lot in one area, not so much in the other, but eventually it bleeds over onto one another. Because the practice of discipline just happens to run through our entire lives. And that's why if you excuse out, well, I'm not real disciplined here, but I am there, eventually one's going to control and overcome the other. And usually it's the negative one. And discipline is something, if you practice it every day. Dan Charlier seems to me like a person of a lot of discipline. Obviously, Ed Milet is somebody who practices a lot of discipline. Most successful people in any sport, in any business, anywhere in life is somewhat disciplined, and they practice also the disciplines of their business. And I think so much we need to work on our discipline. If you sleep in too late every day, start knocking it back. Don't see, a lot of people like everything, like when they want to go on a diet, they say, that's it, I'm going to stop tomorrow eating anything until I'm my perfect weight. Well, that's not going to work for any length of time. But you work on it a little bit. You know, when I was going on my CEO run and trying to become more successful, I realized that if I slept a full 8 hours a day, somehow I could be using those extra hours. Over a 90-day run, believe it or not, a few extra hours a day adds up. It takes away from if you're just trying to do something great. So I'd knock, before I went on my run, I'd cut my sleep down by 15 minutes a night. I'd get up 15 minutes earlier every day until I effectively knocked my sleep back before my run to 5 hours a night. And then for the 5 hours, for 5 hours a night, I slowly knocked it back. By the middle of the run, I was down to 3 hours a night, and I could still operate somewhat effectively and efficiently all day long. Now you'd say, that's no way, I'm no good unless I get my 8 hours. You work on it, and you work on it back. It's amazing. In the discipline of not sleeping much, but it was also operating fully and effectively all day long. And that's why I was able to do some amazing things. So work on your discipline, everybody. I think it's so important to do that. And work on it a little bit every day. Number 17, learn human nature. We are in the people business. We deal with people. We want a large organization. We want to motivate and mobilize teams. And you know, we got to realize how to motivate people. That's the business we're in. Is that true? We need to motivate people. Well, how do you motivate people? This was published a while back. What's interesting, is there a focus button on here, or are you doing that from the back? If you're doing it from the back, it's not working too well. Is it? Okay, focus. Maybe that helps. The power of focus. How to motivate people. Really, fear is one way to motivate people, but it's fear of loss, fear of being left behind, fear of rejection, fear of losing. That's one way to motivate people. How do you invoke those fears into people in your business? And is that a bad thing? I don't think it is. Dan Charlier winning real big, Ed Kozowitz promoting a lot of people, leaves a lot of the other marketing directors in the room probably fearing that they're going to be left behind. That these guys are going to get up to CEO and be the big stars, and you won't. And you may never be able to catch up to them. And that fear of that motivates people to get things going. Fear of being left behind, fear of rejection, and fear of losing. Recognition is another way to motivate people. Praise, appreciation, encouragement, love, ranking with your peers. Vision of wealth, cash flow, equity, getting big, being somebody. All these things motivate people. What I don't see on the list is criticism, condemnation, yelling at people, making them feel small. That's not on the list. That's not been in any book I've ever read on motivation and leadership. Never been an effective technique. Usually it's a leader who's out of control, who doesn't practice their self-control, does that. I've blown people out of the business a lot earlier when I was a lot less mature as a leader. I blew it with some friends, Steve. Just because I wanted them to win bad or whatever excuse I used, I got on them way too much. It didn't give them enough of this in balance. We're all a big emotional bank account with one another. A little bit of encouragement is a deposit, a little criticism is a withdrawal. Unfortunately, a lot of accounts have been overdrawn on in your teams. And that's why I make sure you're making a lot more deposits. Really believe that. Treat this like a business. Here's what it means to treat this like a business, folks, real simply put. Accountable. Accountability. There's not a bit. What makes a business a business? Why do people invest in stocks on Wall Street? Because the company produces results. And they're accountable to their shareholders, they're accountable to their customers, they're accountable. What makes a business is accountability and results. How has your accountability and results been? If you want to grow this thing, you can't do it without extreme accountability and a lot of results. Number 15, become a great promoter. Don King, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali promotes himself, held himself in high esteem. You need to do that. If you don't hold yourself in high esteem, I promise you nobody else will. But you need to become a big promoter. We got the Wealth Bowl coming up. Phoenix, let's get ready to rumble. We got to be excited about that stuff. We need to get our teams all registered for it. Talk about the cars. Go buy some toy cars. Put them in your office. Who's going to win this one? Who's going to win this one? Hawaii. Have Hawaii music on in your office. If you're a marketing director in this room and you don't win Hawaii, gosh, you're missing out. Your family deserves it. You're in the company for that reason, to go on these great trips. But you got to promote these things every day. You know how you promote something? Converse about it every day, every voice tell, every meeting. You start it and end it with the promotion of that event. You hold people accountable to it. You have measuring systems. You've got grease boards up, tracking everybody's registration. I've done that ever since I've been in the business, and it really works. If somebody comes in and they're supposedly a leader in the office and their name's not registered yet for a big event coming up, you know, you don't have to point it out. Everyone will notice. You just at the beginning of the meeting say, everyone notice who's registered and who's not. Get yourself registered. Have contests for it. For attendance at events. I think attendance contests are great. Number 14, be your commitments, not your emotions. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. Try to take the edge off your emotional curve if you can. Stay a little more steady all the time, folks. This business, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. The downs are never as bad as they seem, and believe it or not, the ups are never as great as they seem. If you take the edge off, you'll operate with more precision. Number 13, quit trying to change people. You can't do it. Ruins marriages, everything. You can influence people. As a matter of fact, John Maxwell wrote a book, Becoming a Person of Influence. There's a book out there, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Become an influencer of people, but stop trying to change them. Any of you in the room ever get frustrated with your teams? Don't raise your hands because your teams are here. We know you have. Do you know what that's an indication of? You don't have enough new people coming in. If you had more new people coming into your team, you would focus your attention on them and be excited and happy about them, not about what's not right about the other people. But if you're looking at the same people every single week, you get frustrated with them and bored with them. And then you end up yelling at them and doing things like that. Get a bigger team. You get your recruiting numbers up and bring a whole bunch of new blood into your organization, that'll excite you enough, and you won't have to get frustrated with your teams. You can't change people. Go get some new ones. Number 12, treat people well. Make them feel special. Everywhere in life. Ed talked a little bit about how he was doing that in his community. Do it everywhere. You know, you ever meet some people, they treat you real nice and turn around and treat the cashier at the grocery store real bad? Treat everybody well. Number 11, go wide constantly. Go wide constantly. You don't have to go 10 wide in a month, but you ought to go 1 or 2 wide every single month. You don't want too many months with goose eggs in personal width. Go deep, taproot every time with somebody new. The best way to do that is don't look and focus all your attention on the brand new person. Focus on their marketplace. Have them get you with their friends immediately. Look at that new person as somebody who's dying every day until you get somebody on their team. If you really focus and believe that someone is dying until someone new is on their team, then it'll consistently perpetuate itself. You'll get a new guy, have to get someone on their team. Well, that person's dying until you get someone on their team, and it'll force you to go deep constantly. And the depth is such a great motivator of people, folks. You resell everybody the dream all the way up the line, every new piece of depth you get. And width doesn't motivate anybody else except you. I think you need to do both, by the way. I'm not saying don't go wide. Don't leave here and say, I don't need to recruit. Jeff said I don't have to. You do. You need to go wide. Go a couple wide and take them deep. Go a couple more wide. Every month, go a couple wide and keep taking them all deep. Fast start your new people or lose them. Very simply put, you don't help that person make their list. If you don't help them make their calls, you don't keep in contact with them every day. When you get some new people direct to you, call them every day. I remember when I got started, I faced the scenario disaster every day. I mentioned something, I was excited, so I talked to everybody about it, and someone would always throw up an objection I didn't know how to handle, and it made me question the company. Luckily, Greg Cap would call me seemingly at the perfect time every day, get a hold of me and resell me the dream about the business. Answer that objection and I'd be back in the game. And he did that really for the first 2 weeks until I started realizing then the same objections started coming up and I already knew the answer and gotten the explanation once. I believe in someone's first 2 weeks in business, you ought to call them every single day. Every day. Number 8, field train constantly, ASAP. I have heard some people in here go, Jeff, I don't like producing. Can I just recruit a whole bunch of people and win? You might be able to do that, but I think if you're going to become a leader and be on stage, you have to have done everything. You have to have been a big personal producer at one time so that you can go teach people how to produce and sell. You need to have personally recruited a lot so you can teach people how to personally recruit. You had to have personally trained. Can I get big without being a good trainer? I hate public speaking. You might be able to, but you ought to learn public speaking. Field train constantly. Get in the field. Stay out there. Teach people how to do this and why we do it for families. Those of you in the room that are here, the top 5% of our organizations, you're the best at it. Stay in the field doing it. Number 7, run massive appointments. As I said, as Ed said, I'll show you, and this is in retirement, folks. This isn't the old Jeff. This is my planner I use currently. You might not be able to see it, but look at all my appointments every day. You see my days? That's now. That's my appointment book. I wish I could show you more. That's my appointment book. I wish I'd pass it around, but some of you would be calling the numbers on here. That's it, Guillermo. Guillermo, watch this. Bam! I'm like the Iron Chef. Pow! Pow! Go ahead, learn all your stuff you want. That's going to win at the end of the day. I really promise you, folks. You know what the challenge is for most of you? It's not that you're not good at the business. For crying out loud, you certainly don't. It's not that you lack knowledge. You are the most trained, educated team in the company. You are. You know more than ever. I sit here at this meeting, and And I just can't believe you are literally being taught everything you need to know right here this weekend. And some of you are still struggling financially. And some of you are still don't have big teams and all that other stuff. It's not that you lack know-how, it's that you lack do-how. You need to go out there and just do more. You really need to go out there and just run more appointments. You learned how to make calls. You learned how to get numbers. You learned everything you need to know. Just go do it. Just go do it. That's really all you need. You could take Mike Hinsvark and put him on 10 appointments in a day, and he's going to get a great result. You could take Ed Milet and give him only 2 appointments a day, and the worst guy in the room will blow Ed Milet away with 10 appointments a day to his 2 eventually. I promise you.